I am very much excited for this matchup. I am passionate for both decks. So, wait, not Libromancer. I thought this was voiceless. Might be. Wait, it's voiceless with Libromancer. Okay, that's pretty cool. 60 card raid Raptor. Are you ready? Let's get ready. Begin.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We have Bloom Vulture special summon itself alongside another Raid Raptor. We're going to be searching our deck for a Raid Raptor Heal Eagle, which can't become level 4 for rank 4 Exceeding. Detach a Forstrix, search in our deck for a Bloom Vulture. Now with the Roost, we're going to return 3 cards that are banished and or in the grave back in the deck to draw 1. And set pass. Okay. We're going to Arsenal Falcon, burn for 1,000 during the end phase. That is the Ultimate Falcon. Now what do? Geek Boy is going to reveal Ritual Monster to special summon itself onto the field. We're going to chain the Raid Raptor's Force, which is going to perform a Super Exceed summon. Rising Rebellion Falcon. Unaffected by everything. On summon, it will activate to wipe out the entire field of just a Geek Boy. Yeah. Wipe out the Geek Boy. We're also going to Roost. Chainlink block the Roost. Sure, why not? Wipe out the Mad Lad. Goodbye to Geek Boy. Geek Boy is still triggering on summon to search our deck for a Libromancer spell. We got the origin story here. The Y-Strix will trigger, setting up a rank up magic launch, which is activatable to go into Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is here. And just like that, immediately applied. Let's read this card. It states that after this card is Exceed summoned for the rest of this turn, other cards and their effects cannot be activated on the field. Other card effects on the field are negated. And also during the end phase, you could wipe out all back row cards on the field. We could still activate from the hand, we could still activate from the graveyard, we could still set cards, but everything on the field is going to be no good. You could still attack, though, if you want. Send from the deck a ritual spell to, yeah, let's just scoop, because that is pretty much a first turn kill. Kali Yuga for game. Now, what is the out to that? Could you chain Droplet? No, you can't do that. Can you Kaiju? You could Kaiju the Arsenal Falcon before they summon the Kali Yuga, because the rank up spell, if it were already previously set, it has to be only used within the main phase, and the turn player has priority to make the first action. And if your first action is to get rid of their Arsenal Falcon, they then can't summon their Kali Yuga. But no one's playing Kaiju. So, Barrier of the Voiceless Voice, searching for our low. We're going to follow up with Pre-Prep. Pre-Prep's going to search for 2 cards, grabbing a Ritual Spell plus a Ritual Monster. Let's see. A great turn 1. Very powerful. And now we have the Pendulum Graph to negate the grass looking greener instead. Low come forth. And now the Skull Guardian also is a negate. Let's talk about all of our disruptions here, which are negate anything, negate a spell, pop up to 2 cards on the field, Ash Blossom negate, 4 disruptions. Let's do it. Setting up with the Roost. Really? We're not popping, and we're going to instead summon from the deck a Sarvis. Sure. Return back the Ritual Spell from the hand, keeping the 1 in the graveyard, because it states that if your Ritual Monster leaves by card effect, it's going to trigger from the graveyard to summon another Skull Guardian from the deck. So with that Sarvis, we're waiting for a card effect to activate. Then we could chain directly to it to summon a Sarvis Ritual from the deck, but instead we're going to Pendulum Graph, negate that grass looking green, and summoning an Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. Now, Odd Eyes Meteor Burst has this cool effect of, during the battle phase, your opponent cannot activate monster effects. So if you're fearful of a Spirit of Yubel in the hand, which is relevant sometimes, this will completely turn that off. We have the Pendulum Graph searching for a ritual spell during the end phase as a Pendulum Scale. Evenly matched, no good, but that is okay. Blessing the Voiceless, again adding back the prayers of the Voiceless. Activate 2, Ritual Summon out again, our Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph. Now, this could sometimes be scary because you're in a window where you don't have any negate with your Skull Guardian. You have to have low on the field in order to negate. but we're pretty safe here. It's not like we're in the Nibiru zone. And just like that in the battle phase, you cannot activate any monster effects whatsoever due to the Meteor Burst Dragon, wiping him out. But now, Kali Yuga, Raid Raptor gets to go first for game 3. We're going second. We have the Swallow's Cowrie tributing off a Wing Beast to search for another one of the same level. We're going to Max C in response to the Bloom Vulture, chain the Ash Blossom to negate that Max C. But we got some board breakers. And if we break in the board with Super Poly, that could be used on the Arsenal Falcon before they could even use it to make a Kali Yuga. That could be great. So you may be thinking, where is the Kali Yuga play? It's not here yet. The Y-Strix is going to set it from the deck, activate it onto the Arsenal Falcon, and then we lose. But with Super Poly, all we need with the Arsenal Falcon is another dark monster on the field to fuse with, which there are plenty. So Super Poly will actually stop the Kali Yuga. Lightning Storm it up, flipping up the Glorious Bright, which will negate. And then we do have that Super Poly play. We're doing it right here, right now. We're going to get fusing the Arsenal Falcon and the 4 Strix away for our Garura. That was big. How big was that? That stops them from now summoning the Rising Rebellion Falcon because we needed that rank 4 Exceeds on the field to summon that 5300 unaffected by everything and wipe out the entire opposing field completely thwarted. Now, that's not good enough unless we have a good way to break through the 3500 unaffected, and can Libromancer do so? Probably not, right? Libromancer is not a good deck. Let's see. We're going to reveal a Ritual Monster to summon the Geek Boy, searching for a Libromancer spell. We're going to activate the Origin Story to set up the Libromancer field spell, which is a ritual spell-like effect. It's going to search for a Libromancer Fire. Libromancer Fire, reveal a Ritual Monster, special summon itself onto the field. Activate to search our deck for a Doom Broker. We're now going to use the field spell to ritual the Garura away to summon our Doom Broker. Garura is going to draw a card here. And Doom Broker, what to do? We're going to use the Origin Story, which is going to target a backrow card and destroy it. Wipe it out. So we haven't activated the Doom Broker yet. We're going to randomly draw into that pre-prep, searching for our Ritual Spell and Ritual Monster. We have not used up our normal summon yet. We could summon Skull Guardian. Yep, there we go, Skull Guardian, and then search for a low. Normal summon the low. This is a perfect combination. Voiceless Voice with Libromancer. Very nicely done. Low, set it up into the back row. Barrier of the Voiceless, searching for the Saphira. Saphira is going to search for a Ritual Monster and also set up itself as a way to ritual summon. We're going to link this up into a Little Knight. If we Little Knight effect on summon, which we can't, you can't attack directly because we did not use an extra monster to summon it. We're going to be tributing off the low to summon a Skull Guardian number 2. 4100 as long as low is on the field or in the graveyard. Big enough to wipe out the ultimate Falcon. And just like that, open field, lethal damage, Doom Broker attacking directly, and after dealing damage, sending the Y-Strix back to the extra deck. Little Knight for game. Wow. Libromancer. That is something. Is this deck worth playing? How good is the Doom Broker itself? If this ritual summon, it can attack directly, cool. And then if it inflicts battle damage, target a face-up monster, shuffle it into the deck. And during your main phase, you could set a Libromancer trap directly from your deck. My question is, you don't have a Libromancer trap to set from the deck? Or you just identified you already had lethal damage and you would have done this in main phase too? Probably, right? All right, good job, Morisaki. We're playing against one of the top 2 decks, Snake Eye Fire King alongside Yubel being the top 2. Can Libromancer do it? Unfortunately, we are going second. We have no hand traps, no board breakers. Can they wombo combo us? Of course they can. Let's go. Wait, Horus is in your deck also? Unfreaking believable. Let's speed this up. King Sark, reborning from the graveyard. I'm Seti. We're going to special summon Ash from the deck with the original Sinful. Trigger the Poplar being added, adding the Snake Eye field spell. With the field spell, we're setting up a Poplar into the back row to summon a Flame Burst from the deck through the effect of the Snake Eye Ash. As we now make a Masquerena to trigger the Flame Burst to reborn 2 level 1 fires from the grave. Further linking this up into a Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh and Masquerena making the Promethean Princess to reborn a fire from the graveyard. With the Flame Burst, we're going to push the Masquerena into the back row, now making an Amblow Whale, set this up, and what did we accomplish? Well, the Call by the Grave normally is not considered a board breaker, but in this case, it is, because your board that you're breaking is actually in the graveyard through the Promethean Princess. So we could finger the Promethean Princess, there goes that disruption, and beyond that, the Field Spell or Flame Burst will reborn the Masquerena, going into a Little Knight, which will be a double banish, or we could go into something like a triple negate Apollo USA. Yes, let's do it. Pre-preparation, as we're going to now get that Masquerena into the forefront here, ready to link off with our monsters. Sure. Now the big question is, Little Knights or Apollo USA? Which one do we want to be whipping out? Geek Boy revealing the Ritual Monster to summon itself onto the field. This would trigger Promethean. We could also trigger our field spell. Are we doing both? So now that we have the Kieran on the field, this turns things on. We have even more disruption. We have the circle. Wait, this is not the Skyburn that pops cards. This will target a fire monster you control and 1 fire in the graveyard. Destroy what you control, reborn from the graveyard. That could protect our Promethean Princess. That's quite interesting. Now, what's unfortunate for the Kieran is it does not destroy a card in the field unless it summons a Fire King from your hand or graveyard. We don't have a Fire King to summon, not from the hand, not from the grave, so the Kieran is not a form of disruption at this moment. Geek Boy grabbing that origin story to set up our ritual summoning field spell. Come to me, flip up that field spell, searching our deck for the Libromancer Fire, which will be another special summon. This seems like a good way to just brute force through some hand traps, yes? Nicely done, Morsaki. We're going to be making Little Knight, which will not banish on summon since we didn't use a Link Monster. We have Saphira sent to the grave to get fingered. Saphira will not be able to search. Saphira will not be able to banish to perform a ritual summon. But we have the field spell to ritual summon anyway. That's fine. What now? The pre-prep in our hand is dead since only 1 copy can be used. We have Barrier of the Voiceless, activating to search for our low. With the low, we're going to be activating to set up into the back row our trap, which is going to be returning the ritual spell to summon a Sarvis from the deck. We could chain Little Knight directly to that Masquerena as the Little Knight is pinning her down from activating. Goodbye to Masquerena, you're not going to be able to link off, and the Sarvis also has to be directly chained to the opponent's card effect. Let's go, we stopped that Apollo. This is looking good for Morisaki. We have a finger for Promethean. We had Little Knight for the Masquerena. Let's go to battle. You can't finger in the damage step. So you can see here, this is the end of the damage step, sub-step 5, where we cannot use the Call by the Grave. Summon the Ash, summon the Poplar, trigger the Poplar, and the Ash chainlink block the Ash from being Ash Blossomed. And we're going to be searching for some good follow-up. We have Subversion. We got the Ponix for next turn. We're now going to be using the field spell to ritual summon out our Doom Broker, which can attack directly. And then we could spin the Amblow Whale back into the extra deck. We're going to set up a trap from the deck, the Libromancer Intervention. We're going to preemptively finger the Promethean Princess. And what did I say? The Circle, the Fire King, is going to protect the Promethean from being fingered as we reborn it from the grave instead. Linkuriboh is going to be tributing over the Poplar to summon itself from the grave to reduce an opposing attack to 0 during the battle phase. But Promethean you want in the grave. So why is this good? And what did I say about Kieran? Kieran is not a disruption unless you have a Fire King, but the Snake Eye Ash searched for that Fire King we needed to now turn on the Kieran. So we're going to get that Kieran pop right here, right now, but the Skull Guardian can negate it. So let's see what happens. Unless we were to have a chain link block with it. We have Kieran activating. Poplar is that chain link block. Chain link block versus the activation negate. This is good against Apollo USA, Baron to floor, Skull Guardian, protect your monster, and now you're good. We're negating a Poplar. Did we mean to do that? I think we made an oopsie. Not voiceless, by the way. The oopsie was now Ponix being summoned, which will stop the Kieran from popping a card in the field because we have no other Fire King to summon. So think about this. Kieran needs to pop a card in the field by summoning a Fire King. And now, only now, is there no Fire King to summon. Did we think that our Kirin was negated after Chainlink blocking with Poplar, and that's why we summoned the Ponix? Because now, the Kirin, resolution with no effect. It's supposed to summon and pop. Oh my gosh. Ponix starts our deck for a Skyburn. End our turn. Back in the field with our Masquerena. We got lots of plays here. The intervention, is this good? The opponent activates a card or effect. You target your Libromancer Ritual Monster and then return it to the hand. And just like that, negate the activate effect and then special summon a Libromancer from your hand or grave. Okay. Sure. Subversion. Pushing the Doom Broker into the back row to try to turn off the intervention. We're going to use the intervention to negate the effect of that subversion. We're going to follow up with the Skyburn to get pop. We're going to pop one card, taking out that barrier, the Voiceless. We're going to chain Little Knight and not use Skull Guardian to protect. Now, without the barrier, what happens is the Skull Guardian's now targetable without the barrier, and you could attack into the low. This protects all your light monsters from being targeted, and you have to attack in a Skull Guardian if you're going to declare an attack. Little Knight, get Vanishing. Goodbye. So maybe someone's thinking, how did the Skyburn pop a card if it did not pop the Fire King? Well, if you read something like Little Knight, the Little Knight states that you could target 2 face-up monsters, banish both. So the Little Knight has to banish both. If one of the monsters are gone after activating, you don't banish both. But the wording on Skyburn is different. It doesn't have to destroy both. It says destroy them. So if it said destroy both, it would not destroy if the monster's gone, as it is gone now from Little Knight, but because it's destroyed them, if at least one of them are still on the field, it's going to destroy them, thus the continue spell is gone. This is similar to Unchained Escape. The Escape Trap has to destroy both an Unchained and a card in the field. So you can't make a cool play like, let's say, activate Escape, pop your back row plus my Soul of Rage, chain my Soul of Rage to link off into something else. The Escape will not work because it has to destroy both. It doesn't work like Skyburn. We're now going to be using the Radiance of Voiceless Voice, popping a card in the field, taking out the Amblo Whale. Okay, that's quite interesting. We're going to use Skull Guardian to negate that Promethean Princess from reborning a fire monster from the grave. It ain't happening. And we are also destroying. That will trigger the Amblo Whale to banish to pop a card in the field, non-targeting. We have Snake Eye Oak reborning the Snake Eye Ash from the graveyard on summon. Search our deck for, holy moly, Kurikara Divine Carnate is going to be tributing off every monster on the field that has activated its effect, gaining attack per monster that was tributed. And just like that, we have over 11,000 damage on the field for a Game 1 victory. That was something. That was something. Geek Boy reveal a Ritual Monster into the Max freaking C. Taking a gander at that hand, leaving Ash and Nibiru. Okay, let's do it. Pre-prep, which would not go to our hand. We probably didn't have another good trap in our deck. If I was the opponent, I would think 2 things. Either they messed up their thrust, or I now know they don't play Impermanence one bit. Imperm is not in their deck because that's the main card you would set if not a specific trap you're playing your deck to set with the thrust. We're setting up the intervention, Low setting up the Radiance, Ash Blossom negating the Radiance. I don't think so. You are not going to be summoning from the deck. Now, it's good that it is on the effect, not a cost, to return the Ritual Monster or Ritual Spell back, so we don't lose any card for the activation. Harpy freaking Feather Duster. Holy moly, we have Libromancer intervention to negate that Harpy Feather Duster. We're also chaining the Radiance of the Voiceless Voice to summon from the deck a Sarvis. And what is that? That's giving us access to a Skull Guardian alongside our Low to turn on our Omni Negate. Are you ready, mate? We have the Volcanics, which we're going to chain the Sarvis to summon from the deck our Skull Guardian. Now, it's important to note this Skull Guardian is improperly summoned. Thus, if you were to Dynamundo, you can't reborn it from the graveyard during the opponent's turn. We're going to Ponix trigger because a fire was destroyed. Come forth and summon. Skull Guardian negating and destroying the Ponix. Now, with the Parallel Exceed, we just need ourselves to be able to link off into Linkuriboh. Now, Volcanic's a level 4. What the heck happened? She turns herself into a level 1 by searching for the Ponix. We can now trigger that Parallel Exceed, come forth and summon from the deck. Let's get to it. Let's make our plays. Banshee. This is a card that TCG may be coping with now that the Ash is limited to 1 and the Lacrima is also banned. Search for Poplar, and if you have your open normal summon, you could search for a Snake Eye Ash instead. We have our original Sinful, send Poplar, summon for the deck, Snake Eye Ash. It just like that, Poplar to chain link block from a potential negates. As we're going to search in the deck, we can't search another Poplar. So what do we do here? Kurikara Divine Carnate is here, tributing off the Skull Guardian to come forth and summon. So we can see here, improperly summoned. There you go. You could even see it on the card. Snake Eye Oak, reborn from the grave or banishment. We are reborning the Ponix, as the Flameburge is also reborning 2 level 1 fires. So instead, we could return the Ponix back to our hand. Come to me. As we further link this up into our Masquerena. Do we have lethal damage here or what? We should. We're now making our Promethean Princess. Promethean's going to reborn a fire monster from our graveyard. Come forth back onto the field, Flameburge. Have we used Flameburge effect to push a card back yet? We have not, as we are now pushing that Geek Boy into the back row. 11,000 damage, and just like that, we are knocking out Libromancer Voiceless.